Hello everyone, welcome back to my review channel, and today I'm going to do another movie review. But before I start, I would like to mention again that I know I haven't been putting out any reviews lately, like mostly movie reviews, and I'm sorry for that, but I had a lot of things come up as of late and I wasn't able to do some. I've had to get another computer, and it's just been I've just had to do other things lately, and even though I've been able to watch movies, I haven't been able to actually sit down and record the reviews of them. But and also, you may know that I do like to do classic horror films, and we're actually going to cut back on that, and I'm just going to try to stick with newer horror films or newer films from here on. I'm not going to completely cut it out, but I'm not going to do as much as I try to. I'm just going to try to have a bunch of newer movies I'd rather do. So, but yeah, let's start with that right now. And again, I'm sorry for taking so long with the movie reviews, but here we go. This review is going to be on Vampire Hunters, Tsui Hark's Vampire Hunters. This is known by another name, The Era of Vampires. Tsui Hark is Tsui Hark. He didn't direct it, but he wrote it or the screenplay or whatever. He has done a lot of films. You may know a couple of like Black Mask 2, Black Mask 2, and Double Team starring Jackie Chan. He writes a lot. He directs quite a few himself, and it was pretty good. This movie was okay. I mean, most of the actors in it you probably wouldn't know. In America, they don't really do many American movies, mostly Oriental movies, China and Japanese. Um, this was fun. This was good. This was like a little Japanese or Chinese play on the vampires. Coven, like a small group of 5 go after a vampire, like vampire hunters, of course. Um, Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Don't want to skip. International Movie Database give this a 4.5. Okay, and Rotten Tomatoes give this a 29% rating with 18% of the audience liking it or voting. Honestly, I didn't think it was that bad. I think it's just played off as worse than it is, just because it's not like American style of like what we like to watch. But the the writing and the directing was just both just like subpar. Um, it starts off like, well, I'm just gonna say the directing was just at times was really good. Like you could tell, like mostly his background is Oriental martial arts films, and it's quite like that a little bit in here. So it's good on that. But you could tell sometimes when you're trying to set up the stage, and he took too quickly of shots sometimes where you don't know what he's trying to convey to the audience by taking too quick of shots. Stuff like that, and writing it was just like not some of Tsui Hark's best work, but he's done a lot. You can't be perfect every time. You can't just like, you know what I'm saying. So I can. That's fine. I mean, it's still good. It starts off and it shows a little a postcard for like beginning scene. It's not a legit postcard, but it's like written words called a postcard. It just says 17th century rural China in the Qing dynasty. Um, Goes on to say that zombies roam the earth, and if they eat too much of flesh, too many people, too much, some will turn into vampires. Now, being a lover of zombies and vampires, I could really, a nerd myself, I could poke a lot of holes through that theory, but I'm just going to take it for face value because I just have to also say it's an interesting spin on the concept of like flesh-eating mythological, horror classics. Zombies always eat flesh, and Dracula's have known sometimes in some movies to eat flesh, not just drink blood. So it was just like cool concept. I'll just take it for face value though. It's an interesting spin. So there's a coven of 5 vampire hunters who actually now. It also, I'm sorry, I don't want to skip. it also says in the very beginning that there's only certain people that can be vampire hunters. So now we set the movie up to where these 5 vampire hunters are searching for this main vampire, like big daddy vampire dude. They first 10 minutes of this film, the opening of this film was awesome. Okay, there was no doubt. It was actually a little bit of House of Flying Daggers. It was pretty cool, like martial arts air scene, air martial arts. Basically they find the vampire and there's a fight scene with the vampire. Obviously, um, the the makeup was just terrible on the vampire. It was like old school Evil Dead, just caked on mask. Basically, it was almost just basically a mask instead of just like makeup. I was trying to understand what the director was trying to say with this. Is like, okay, he hasn't ate or drank blood in a while, the vampire, so he's not fully formed. I was like, okay, I get that, but by the end of the movie, I'm just going to say this, by the end of it, he still looks the exact same way. Like he's about to eat quite a few people at the very beginning, he does, and by the end of it, he still looks the same way. So I'm just like, what has this vampire been doing? Um, I mean, why is he still like have a caked on mask? And seriously, every time you show a close up of the guy with the caked on mask, his eyes don't move. He doesn't even open his eyes. The only time you see this guy's eyes open is at the very end. It was like once you actually see like past the mask and you see this guy actually like open his eyes. I'm just like, ooh. It took this long, yeah, and the vampire ate so many people by now. Anyways, beginning the scene, beginning setting up the fight scene was fun. Aerial, martial arts, and little how like I said, little glimpses of like movies like House of Flying Daggers, a hero or something, and it was fun. It shows a little bit of the Oriental side of martial arts, fighting the vampire. Vampire, good gore. No, not gore. There's a lot of blood, very few instances of gore, and when gore came around, it was mostly CGI. Like at the very beginning, when the vampire would eat you, he would like suck out like your blood and everything from inside your orifice, like suck out your eyes, and all you see was like blood gushing from your eyes and your mouth, and just like coming into the vampire, and vampire would just go into the vampire's mouth and like he'd swallow. That was cool. That was cool and everything, but it was CGI blood. And a lot of times it was CGI vampire. So that was kind of silly. It was like silly stuff like that. CGI vampire was silly. Um, he was just doing something which is funny, but again, the beginning was fun. After the beginning, it switches to 3 months later. So like they have the big vampire scene, and then the vampire like gets away. 3 months later, now you get into like subplots and everything where apparently there's 4 out of the 5 coven are going to this random town waiting for their master sensei that led the coven in the first place that you just saw. And so these 4 vampire hunters are waiting for their master sensei, so they get a job, a little minuscule job while they're in this town, and they need to stay there for a little bit. um, while here, there's a woman that's getting married to this uh, rich man's son. So a rich family's son is getting married to this woman, and you come to find out that a little later on that the brother to this woman is actually wanted her to marry into the family so he can come in and try to steal the gold, all the riches that they had. So this is a little bit of the subplot going on. So subplot, not really much gore, little martial arts in this because there was a couple fight scenes. So those were good. Those were good to watch. But it was just mostly plot line, all middle. But then at the end, it was fight, blood, good stuff. And that's pretty much how it was. Of course, like the sensei came back at the very end, only at the very end. Like they've been in this town for a while, and like the sensei just got there at the very end. Oh, don't want to forget, like there's also another player in the game. It comes around like around the middle of the film, a guy that actually can use corpses as fighters. Like he can not really resurrect corpses, but he uses dead bodies and he can like move them himself, not like holding them or anything, but just like he has powers to be able to move dead bodies on their own. So that's going to come into play at the very end. It's a big fight scene, culminate with like the woman's brother fighting the old man over gold stuff, and the vampire comes around, and that dude that can use corpses fights with like a little bit of the vampire and everything. But then the coven people come in and the sensei drops by, and then it's a bigger, then it's like the whole thing culminates with a really good, like, you know, martial arts, sword fighting, blow up the vampire sword ordeal. But again, the vampire had like caked on makeup this whole time, a little bit of CGI. Sometimes it was just silly. Like, come on, can we not just get a regular looking vampire by the end of it? He's probably ate so many people by now. But that was good. I mean, like I said, that was it. It just ends up, of course, the sensei kind of he kills the vampire, but also I do believe he died too. Yeah. So it's kind of a dramatic moment, but yeah, kill the vampire. Then they just leave the separate ways. Good. Like I said, good movie. As it was not a terrible movie. It wasn't a great movie at all, but it wasn't a terrible movie. And as for nowadays, there's a lot worse you could be seeing instead of this, in my opinion. There's a lot worse out there. That's not that. A lot of other things are just bad, worse than this I've seen, and it's definitely worth like a Netflix rental, maybe $1 rental or something. You know, I think I found this at Walmart for like $10. It might not be worth $10, but it could be worth like a couple bucks, $5 maybe, if you really like the movie, which it had good parts. So can't really complain that much. It was fun to watch, like I said, with like if you had some friends or something, it'd be fun. Not bad, good, but not well, not great, but not terrible. Tsui Hark's Vampire Hunters, also known as Era of the Vampires. Tagline: 5 heroes, a coven of vampires, a lot of bad blood. Bazinga. There we go. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for your time, and everybody out there have a great day.